As you approach the refueling area, be sure that the airplane is centered on the yellow line in the pavement. You'll also want to make sure that the wingtip is well clear of the stanchions around the fuel area.
Here we are ready to refuel 622, and I'm assisted by Kelly. All right, Kelly. So what are we doing first there?
So we're gonna unspool the grounding cable. And you wanna make sure that you hear 2 clicks and then it won't retract on you. And ground right here. Make sure it's good to go.
On some piece of bare metal, right?
Yes.
Okay. The ladder is kept on a rack right next to the fuel pump. So return it there, please. All right, so we're gonna set the ladder up right next to the airplane. We wanna be careful to not touch or damage any part of the airplane, so make sure it's forward of the leading edge, ahead of any strut, and away from the fuselage, like so. Okay, so now we're going to set up our credit card.
So you always want to make sure that the black bar is on the left side. Pull it out quickly. And the
Let's
tail
go
number.
to new. If you have the tail number associated with that card already, you can just select it, or you can press new, and then you get that screen up with the letters, and the first one's going to come up November. So let's press in November and 61622 down on the keypad.
61622.
And we'll just double check that we've got it entered correctly, and then we'll press accept. And we have 3 choices here. Yeah, we can enter gallons, we can enter the amount of dollars we want to set up to 1,000 if you've got a really empty tank, or we can just say we'll fill it up, and that I've just been informed will limit at $300. So let's just fill up for today. Okay, and we got a chance to confirm what our screen is, so let's confirm it. And it's telling us to wait, and it's authorized. So now we'll go over and grab our hose. Any cautions there?
Nope, no cautions yet. Make sure that you hit the green button and you'll hear a distinct click.
Okay.
That's how you know that it's kicked on. Otherwise, you'll have to make a trip back over here to hit that green button. And
all right.
you do need to hold it just a little bit.
All right, so go ahead and pull her out there. All right, so once you've climbed up either by the steps on the aircraft or the ladder, now we'll get up here and unlatch the tank.
Another kind of word of caution, the trigger on this is delayed, so you have to pull it really hard before it kicks on. You want to be careful because the pressure is on very strongly at that point, and then you want to immediately let it.
So you're talking about the lever right there, the gas lever right there. Okay, the trigger, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
So you pull it really hard, it'll kind of kick on, it does hesitate, and then once it's on, you'll hear the fuel flowing. And I always recommend don't take your eyes off of it because the pressure is so great, it will fill up really quickly, and then you'll get that overflow, which you want to try to avoid.
Okay, so you got to really watch it as it's filling right up to the brim.
Yes.
Try to cut it off before it overflows.
Yes.
All right. So you release it, and then we're going to let the last little drips drop out into the tank, of course.
And I always try to keep nozzle up.
And how do you make sure you don't whack the airplane with the nozzle or with the ladder if you're using that?
I'm just always aware of my surroundings. When I have this, I try to keep it close to my body and not let it flail around. I don't want to create any scratches or dents. So it's just situational awareness.
Okay.
And
Terrific.
then jump down.
All right.
If I did not set a gallon amount, I have to come over here and physically turn the pump off just by hitting that red button. You'll hear the engine kicks off, and now you can start to reel it in.
And how do we do that without messing it up?
So there's a couple different ways. I'm gonna switch sides. I think the easiest way is to use your foot. So I stand on this side. I use my right foot to kind of guide the hose while I'm using the rewind button. And I'll just show you that a little bit.
You're trying to wind it in there like you would a good garden hose, right?
Yeah, so
That's great.
if you can get a good, you know, consistent roll on it, it makes it easier for the next person to get it back out.
Is there another way to get it in there?
You can also use the nozzle. I personally don't love this way. I think it's a little bit more chaotic, but some people are much better at it. But you're basically gonna do the same thing I did with my foot. So I don't have as much control, so I'm not gonna complete it that way. If you practice it that way, it will obviously make it a little bit easier.
What do you think about setting it in the container, the hold right there, and using your hand to guide it in? Have you ever done that?
I personally don't do that unless I have gloves on, just because I do it so often. But, you know, if you feel comfortable with that, that is definitely a good option, especially because you're going to have more control using your hand.
But the whole point is to get it wound up in there pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Now, I've got fourth option. What about laying this nozzle down on the ground and letting it drag across the ground? Because I can see from the looks of it that it sure does look like a few people have done that.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of that?
So we don't ever want to do that. If you run into trouble and you can't get it yourself, just come grab somebody inside. You do not want to drag this on the ground like you mentioned. It is beat up because people will leave it out. Just come over here and willy-nilly rewind the cable in. And that creates a risk not only for the nozzle, but the hose also can get wrapped around the outside, which then makes this inoperable because it kinks it, and therefore the fuel pump will be down. And
so let's go ahead and finish the job. We'll go ahead and put it away and close her up. You're a whole lot better with the foot than I am.
So I usually get it to about this point, and then the little last bit, I just kind of do it slowly. I'm still controlling it, and then I'm returning it over to the side here. I also like to zero this out for the next person, so they know that they're starting on a fresh transaction. And then we close this up. Come over here. You're gonna grab your receipt. You definitely want to keep that, and then please Velcro the flap back down if it'll stay.
Great. And now we're all secured and we can hop back in into our trusty jet. Nope, we can't do that yet. We got something hanging off the wheel.
Yeah, so when you're putting the grounding cable back, I usually suggest standing back, pulling it until you hear kind of a squeak, and then I walk it back in. And I kind of have to help it at the end there, and that's okay. The one thing you want to be aware of, just like with the hose, you don't want to let the cable get wrapped around the outside. That again will break the grounding cable, and that has happened before. So we just want to make sure that we're paying attention and that we're in control of the cable the whole time.
Okay.
Good to go.
We're all set?
Yes.
All right, now we're ready to jump into our jet aircraft here and go fly off or taxi her back to the parking area.
If you end up with fuel going where it shouldn't, or if there's any danger of fire, there is a emergency shutoff and fire extinguisher located nearby the fuel pump.
Now we're done with our refueling and we want to turn in our fuel receipt. Make sure that your name, your tack times are on it. Make sure the tail number is legible down there at the bottom. Total sale price should be visible, as well as the date. Then we will take that receipt after you've perhaps taken a picture of it. We'll take that original receipt and put it in the box here in the club hanger where we put gas receipts and payments. And at the end of the month, those will be tallied up, credits applied to your bill, and everything will be all squared away.